So I talk a lot about making the best decision that you can given the information that you have and that it's a moving target. But a kind of a mental game that I like to play, and a mental game that I think would benefit most entrepreneurs who are either starting a business or considering starting a business or making decisions about which way to go with their business, because as life goes on, the opportunities get bigger. The ways that you can spend your time become more and more vast. And the people who really win, the people who do it really, really well, have made a lot of really good small decisions over time. So what I think is a really good plan and a way to think about all this is basically, I think that more entrepreneurs, more business people should treat business and treat opportunities like a professional poker player treats their craft. What do I mean by that? When I think about a professional poker player, they are fully odds based. I mean, there's a little bit, if we take away the mental and emotional side of bluffing and reading opponents, poker players, they play the odds. They think, they have an equation in their mind. And this is the equation that if you can get good at rationalizing, I think you can do really well. A poker player thinks, okay, what is the opportunity cost of playing this hand? How much resources am I devoting to this hand, aka chips? Like they're putting chips in. But a business owner is putting energy, time, and money into opportunities. Finite resource, right? A poker player only has so many chips. An entrepreneur only has so much energy, so much time, so much money. So a poker player looks at a hand and says, okay, how much resources should I invest to potentially win? What are the winnings? Another part of the equation is, if I invest this amount of money, what are the potential benefits? It's quantifiable. If I'm going to put in 10 grand into the pot and there's 4 other people going to put in 10 grand as well, I could turn my 10 grand into 50 grand. I could 5x my money. What are the odds? That's the big part of this that poker players master. It's really easy for rookie poker players to throw good money after bad, and not play the odds that are not in their favor. If the odds are less than 20% for you to 5x your money, it's not a good bet. A poker player is not going to do that. So they have this equation, right? Resource, chips, odds of success, potential outcomes. As an entrepreneur, when you are thinking about starting a business, when you're thinking about making a decision, when you're thinking about chasing an opportunity, you really have to think about 3 things: your time and your energy, your money, your resources, your chips, the odds of success, and the possible outcomes. What is the outcome? If you think about those 3 things, it's going to help you make a lot better decisions. A lot of people, you know how I feel about unicorns. You know how I feel about venture capital-based money. Make big new ideas with very low odds of success. Okay, the reward could be $1 billion. The reward could be, 5 million, whatever it is. But the risk, let's think about the risk. How many resources are in there and what are your odds? You may devote 3 or 4 years of your life for a 2% chance of succeeding. 2% chance of succeeding, 3, 4, 5 years of your life. Who's going to take that? A poker player would never play that game. A person who's playing the odds would never play that game. And to complicate this even more, we need to think about, what is our desired outcome? The desired outcome of a poker player, every single hand, is to put themselves in a better position after the hand than before the hand, and to set themselves up to potentially win the game. A poker player wins a tournament not by, yes, they have to take some risk, and yes, they have to win, but they do it slowly over time, 20 hours, 30 hours, several thousand hands sometimes. An entrepreneur needs to think about things the same way. You can either take one big shot at the very beginning, go all in against 5,000 people, 1 in 5,000 odds, or you can slowly but surely make decision after decision, only play when the odds are in your favor, go after the low risk, high risk adjusted return odds of every single hand. That's the way you win. That's the way you win in poker. That's the way you win in business. Far too many entrepreneurs get emotional. Far too many entrepreneurs let their ego get involved. Far too many entrepreneurs play games that the odds are not in their favor. They're playing games that the odds are not in their favor. They're reading books about Steve Jobs. They're reading books about Elon Musk. And they think that that is the path. When in reality, you're playing the worst odd game at the casino. There's no skill involved. You are just going to slowly throw your money away. Yes, you can hit it big. Yes, you can hit the jackpot. Yes, you can go home on Sunday with a purse full of 10, 20, 30 grand. People do that, but also people lose a lot of money. The professional poker players win money. The professional poker players do those little small incremental bets. So I like to start by that last part of the equation, desired outcome. It's resources plus odds and to achieve a desired outcome. Set up a desired outcome. That's where you should start. If your desired outcome is $1 billion, then yes, you need to play the big games. If your desired outcome is to make $500,000 and work 5 hours a week, that's your desired outcome. What are the small games that I can play over the next 10 years to achieve that goal? What are the small, high probability, low failure rate games that I can play over and over again? Almost every single time, the odds point to doing common things uncommonly well. The odds don't point to taking big risks. The odds don't point to investing 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half of your time and energy and effort into something, trying to make something big. When you think about your career, when you think about earning potential, between the ages of 25, since I started my business when I was 21, let's say when you graduate college, you're 22 years old. From the time between you're 22 and 62 and you're ready to retire, that's only 40 years. But who wants to wait till they're 62 to make any money? Let's decrease that time frame. You really need to make money. You really need to generate wealth in the first 10 years of your career. If you don't start to do that, it's going to be really, really hard to take a risk. It's going to be really hard to get that snowball rolling. It's going to be really hard to live the life you want if you're too old to enjoy it. So you have 10 years. Let's just say that. You have 22 to 32 to really get the ball rolling and really have a couple wins to set yourself up on the trajectory of success. I talk all the time about how business is about momentum and business is about growth over time. What you're doing now is going to look nothing like what you're doing 10 years from now. You got to start off this game on a 10-year time frame. So every 6 months of that resource that you invest is 5% of this critical period of your career. So the poker player is thinking, okay, I have a pot and I have a amount of chips. I have a chip stack in front of me that's 10 years. So every 6 months that I put in is 5% of my money. If I'm going to invest 5 years, that's 50% of my pot. The reward better be huge and the reward better be certain. The odds better be in my favor if I'm going to take that chance. But this is unfortunately not the way business owners think. Business owners don't think about reward. They don't think about how much money they need. They don't start with a goal in mind of how much cash they want to be making to live the life they want. Oftentimes it's a smaller amount than you think. 50 grand, 75 grand, 100 grand. Sometimes that's enough to live a great life. Far too many entrepreneurs let the ego get involved. They make emotional decisions and they don't even look at the big picture. They don't. They don't stop to think about the odds. They don't stop to think about the investment. They don't stop to think about the reward. Those three things, the three parts of the equation that the poker players use to determine whether or not they are in a good position, whether or not the odds are that they are going to win. A poker player is not going to play a hand if his odds aren't that he's going to win. If the odds are 20%, he's not going to play the hand. He's going to fold right off the bat. That's why I like to look at businesses. I like to look at opportunities. I like to look at concepts, business ideas, businesses to start, entrepreneurial ventures. I like to look at somewhere the odds are very good that I'm going to succeed. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about businesses where the 50th percentile person is doing very well. I'm not talking about the restaurant business where 8 out of 10 fail. I'm not talking about venture capital in Silicon Valley where 99 out of 100 businesses never get acquired. I'm not talking about big new ideas where you have to train and market and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3 years' time to hopefully have a win. I'm talking about the businesses that are already operational. I'm talking about doing things that people are already doing. I'm talking about things that people don't necessarily think are sexy or fun. I'm talking about picking your competition. Pick your competition. Just like I was telling you about my track and field career a couple episodes ago. I picked my competition. I'm a moderately fast guy who can jump moderately high, and I can run, I can throw things moderately far. I was never going to be national caliber. I was never going to have a win doing any one individual event. So I decided to take the path of least resistance and do the decathlon, which nobody ever does. And I was lucky enough to become an All-American and hold a couple school records. It's the path of least resistance. I picked a business, a storage business, a moving business that not a lot of really smart people think is fun. So I didn't have a lot of competition. The odds of success were good. So if I was sitting at a poker table with some poker chips, I could say, oh, I'm going to bet on this moving company because, yeah, it's a pretty low risk bet. I can find out if this is going to work in a couple months, 6 months, right? 5% of my time here, I'm going to figure out if this is going to work. And I'm thinking about the odds on the other end, the odds in the middle. What are the odds of success? Well, I'm looking at people out there who make good money and are not good at what they do. Okay, check. That looks pretty good. What is the potential reward? Well, the potential reward is what I'm doing right now. No, I'm not a multi-millionaire. No, I'm probably never going to be a billionaire. But I'm living the life I want to live. This is the way that entrepreneurs should look at business opportunities, but they don't. They get their ego involved. They get emotional. They do what they want to be doing. They start with a selfish, self-serving business idea. And what do I mean by a selfish, self-serving business idea? An entrepreneur many times starts out, what do you want to be doing? What are you passionate about? And they might say electric cars. They might say, any number of things that are fun and sexy, sports management. Many people, if you ask them what they want to be doing, they'd be consulting the Buffalo Bills or the New York Giants on draft picks and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Everybody wants to be doing that stuff. Nobody wants to be cleaning toilets. Nobody wants to be cleaning anything. Nobody wants to be building anything. Nobody wants to be sweating, working with their hands. So when you look at the odds and when you look at the potential result, you have a winner. So next time you are making a life decision, think about the 3 factors. Think about how much you're investing. And remember that time is your most valuable resource. Time. Everybody thinks money is the most valuable resource. Well, I'll tell you a fact here. And that's every single person in the whole world wakes up every morning with the same amount of the most valuable resource that there is in this world. And that's time. Everybody has the same amount of time. And nobody can ever get it back. And all the wealthy people I know realize that time is the most valuable thing that they will ever get and that they have ever had. And everybody's got the same amount of it. So think about that. Think about time. How much time am I putting into this business idea? How much money am I putting into this business idea? Then move on to step 2. What are the odds of success? What are the odds that I can make it worth it? And then you have varying results. Okay, there's a 25% chance I make 50 grand a year. There's a 50% chance I am able to build a company and make a couple hundred. There's another 25% chance that we make it bigger and are able to generate long-lasting wealth through this company. Those are all factors that you need to think about, and not enough people do. And there's so many factors, right? There's thousands of factors. It's really hard to know how much time, what the odds are, what are the potential outcomes. You just got to look at the market and use gut instinct and a rational thought process instead of emotional, self-serving, egotistical filtering of information when it comes in. If you can look at the market, if you can look at the world around you in an unemotional way, you're at a huge advantage. So think about it. Think like a poker player. Think about statistics. Think about odds and make decisions based on that, not how you're feeling that day, and you'll win.